and welcome to week number 5. This week we've got some reading to do. In the Donahue text, we've got chapter 8, and this is going to be tasks and tools of collaboration. This chapter 8 is going to be really critical for the discussion board we're going to be doing this week. In the Linden text, this is an easy read, but it's also going to give a lot more tools in here. And so this is also developing sustainable collaborative cultures, and you're going to see a lot of different examples of different tools that are going to go on in collaboration. Also on Blackboard, in a section called Student Resource, there's a video there. It's an embedded video. It's about 17 minutes long. And this one will really help give kind of an overview and a framework of collaboration. And so this is a video, sometimes you'll hear me say, this is a video that you can kind of, watch while you're doing something else. This is one you're probably going to want to watch maybe a couple of times and take some notes off of it. This is really going to help for your group project and for the big your final paper. So this is one I would pay some attention to, take some notes, maybe watch it once, and then the next night come back and watch it again. But it's got some good information. It's not the most exciting of all videos, but it's got some good information. One of the references it makes in the video is to something called wicked problems, and hopefully that's a common term for you and you're familiar with the concept of wicked problems. But if you're not, or you want a refresher on it, I've given, again, this is not an exciting video, but it's 6 minutes and it gives kind of an overview of what wicked problems are. This is one you probably don't need to take notes on, and you could probably be folding laundry while you're watching this video, but this might at least kind of refresh your memory about wicked problems. There's a PowerPoint notes section, or a readings notes section, so that might help you as you're going through the readings. And now let's talk about this week's discussion thread. Excuse me. All right. So by Saturday night, you're going to need to do your initial post, and that's your kind of 600-word essay. That is due on Saturday, and on Sunday is when you'll need to respond to at least 2 other students' posts. Okay, so this week what we're going to be talking about is that one way to view collaboration is as a cycle, and this is out of chapter 8 of the Donahue text. So it's going to talk about the cycle is you analyze, should the collaboration be formed, you assign stakeholders and participants, you design the agreements and responsibility, and you assess the outcome and the effectiveness. So my question is, when is it valuable to think of collaboration in terms of a cycle, and when is this not useful? So I'd like you to provide examples of this kind of analyze, assign, design, and assess is really good for these types of collaborations, and give an example, and maybe not so useful in these types of collaborations. I want you, in your 600-word essay, I'd like you to use citations either from the textbook, from the videos you've seen, from outside research you're doing as you're asking questions. What I'd like to see on this is an actual thesis, kind of what is your thesis about what makes the difference. So things that come to mind are, long-term collaborations that are going to be there a while versus collaborations that kind of pop up quickly and then go away. It's not necessary, or my question is it? Is it necessary for collaborations to have longevity? Or are some collaborations intended just to be kind of a quick in and out? I remember back in the late 80s when we as Americans were all adjusting to this disease we hadn't heard of before called HIV/AIDS. And at that point, a lot of nonprofits and collaborations began popping up, working together, trying to address this disease. That at that time, for those of you who may be too young to remember, at that time, when people got the disease, it was from the moment they were getting diagnosed to the moment of them passing away was, by today's standards, incredibly fast. So this was something that we were trying to address quickly. And I remember I worked for an organization, an HIV/AIDS organization. Now it's coming into the late 90s, early 2000s. And they were so unstable. They had been around 15 years, 10, 15 years, but they were a very unstable organization. And when I had talked to some of the founders, they said, we never thought we'd be around this long. We were thinking they were days away from a cure. This was back in the late 80s. Any minute now, any minute now. So they didn't do a lot of the groundwork. They didn't do a lot of the rules and regulations and agreements and all of this, because they were just coming in trying to deal with this deluge of all of these people needing help and all of these trying to put together the collaborations and the resources. Everything was moving so fast that they didn't have time, and they didn't think they were going to be around that long. They were hoping the cure was right around the corner. So I want you to think about that, versus maybe preparing for an emergency, earthquakes and those types of things, versus, a collaboration of different groups, depending on what the task is or the mission is of the collaboration. Are these things different? And what in your mind might make it different? Now, remember that at this level, it is up to you to begin making new theories. If you listen to the video, the embedded video, you'll hear him say, he's quoting two women, and I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but he's quoting two women that gave him the structure, and he's saying, so this is the structure he worked with, and then he added something to it. That's what we should be doing. You guys can work within a structure, utilizing other people's information, and then add your twist to it. Where are you going with it? So you base it on theory, base it on, other people, and then, take your twists and turns as you move through this information. So rather than just telling me what the book said, you don't need to do that because I know what the book said. I need you to begin interpreting this with your life experience and to tell the story that only you can tell. This is your voice coming out in a very powerful way at a doctorate level. So I'm really interested to see how you can begin your construction of these ideas. So I want you to think about types of collaborations, go as far outside the box as you can. When is it useful to use all these tools? When are they not useful? Or are they always useful? Any answer you've got on this is fine, but I want you to challenge these ideas, and I want you to challenge the theorists that we give you. I want you to look to these people who are supposed, learned people in the field, but you are the next generation of those theorists. You are the next generation of the people that are going to have the next theory that other people are going to quote. So that's what I need coming out at this point. Essay should be about 600 words is your original post. And I'm going to ask a favor, please cut and paste your post into the discussion board. So a lot of us, I know I do the same thing. When I'm writing my post, I do it in Word so that I can spell check and I can make sure I get everything right, and I can, write a little and go away, save it and all of that. Anyway, I'll write it in Word, but then don't attach a Word document to the post because it's a little more difficult. We're kind of going through, everyone reads through the post and I'm going to respond and, now I've got to stop and download a Word document. So please do not upload a Word document. Just either type it directly into the discussion board, or if you type it into Word, then just cut and paste it into the discussion board. And then I want you to comment on two other students' posts. And what I'm looking for there is a real substantive response, taking the conversation to that next level as if you were talking. So each of you are going to have a different take on these theories. Each of you are going to be coming at this from a different level. So picture yourself when you're reading the discussion board, and give yourself enough time to do this, as if you're sitting across, having coffee with somebody, and they're telling you, this is my take on it. What is your feedback on that? Well, have you considered this? What about that? You know what? That's interesting you said that. I just read this article over here and it brings that to mind. So when you're responding to the other posts, hopefully you're helping them with their take on the theory move it forward a little more than they were even when they were done. Add resources, add ideas, ask them questions to help them clarify it. But as opposed to, I really enjoyed your post, that's A, not going to get a lot of points, and B, it's not moving the discussion forward. So every time you read somebody's post, take it as if you're sitting across from coffee with them, and they're giving you their take on the idea, and they're asking your opinion on it. And take a moment to give it some thought and add to it. And maybe during that exchange, it'll add something more to what you're doing as well. So picture the discussion board as a discussion, as a moment to have coffee or tea with somebody and to sit down and really discuss this and think about all the ideas that are being presented from this wonderful group that you're working with right now. All right, continue working on your group project, and remember, in your group area on Blackboard, there's resources there. There's discussion boards just for your group. There's blogs. There's all other types of tools. So consider using those if you haven't already to help in your own collaboration on your group project. And that's all I have for you this week. I hope you're having a good time, and I hope the information you're finding interesting and challenging. And in the meantime, everybody have a very blessed week, and we'll talk soon.